Hello, and welcome to the Bronze Age Monsters bonus show. This is a show we make each and every week for our loyal patrons. We talk about a devil movie, talk about stuff we've been doing. We've been rolling a 30-sided die every week, letting the Dark Lord flow through us, figure out what we're going to watch next. And we rolled. Did you rolled this one? Yeah,
I did.
You rolled, and this is a TV movie from 1978. It's directed, Halloween Night, 1978. It's directed by Curtis Harrington. It's called Devil Dog, The Hound of Hell.
Yeah, I think this is something I would have watched as a kid.
Definitely, this would be something that you'd see on TV as a kid and be like, "Oh, that was awesome!" You know,
and you think it was Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
You would think it's the most disturbing thing ever if you're 6 years old.
Yeah.
And
was this on CBS? I think it was the
yes
network.
Yeah, I mean, it's starring people that you know. It has Kim Richards and Ike Eisenman, who were the actors who played the brother and sister from the two Escape to Witch Mountain movies.
I've never seen those.
Really? They're awesome. But again, I saw them as I was a little kid. And yeah, they're like
have
weird.
You seen them as an adult?
I have not. But yeah, I'm curious though. I was actually thinking of doing a rewatch of one of those, at least the first one after we watched this on our Discord. This was really fun to watch on our Discord. I think we all had a really good time and had decent things to say about the movie, mainly because we were still traumatized from Blue Blood the week before. And so anything after Blue Blood, we were like, oh, this is great. I mean, whether it's great or not, I don't know, but I did have a good time watching it on the Discord.
I did as well. You didn't mention that there was a shaman played by Victor Jory, the silver screen's serialized version of Lamont Cranston, The Shadow.
How weird is that? Yeah, and I don't think we've talked either about how, the main protagonist is played by Richard Crenna.
Yeah, I don't know him that much outside of the Rambo movies, but he played essentially John Rambo's like Green Beret handler in Nom. So that's like what most people our age know him as, is he's his CO.
Absolutely.
And so it was cool seeing him, and he has that that perfect 70s man face. Like,
yeah,
he looks like he eats steak 2 meals a day, and he has scotch with every single meal.
Yeah.
And there's a pack of Benson Hedges perpetually in his breast pocket. Like,
yeah,
he just looks like a 70s man. Like, he drinks rusty nails.
I mean,
Buck Cowan.
He totally could have been Buck Cowan.
That would have fucking ruled.
That would have ruled. We need to recast.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It has Yvette Mimieux in it too.
Yeah, where do I know her from? Besides her name?
The Black Hole.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's all you need to say.
Yeah. Well.
But this is a fairly slight story that you had alluded to on the main show that this was a bunch of devil puppies were sired and distributed in various suburbs, and wackiness ensues. And this was, I don't know. I mean, again, I had a really good time watching this. I thought it was kind of fun. It's not great. I mean, I'm not gonna talk about it like it's this wonderful piece of cinema, but it's a fairly entertaining TV movie. Richard Crenna, I did like the brother and sister, Ike Eisenman and Kim Richards. They play these kids who are, I don't know. I thought that the kind of character movement between the kids and the wife towards darkness, towards the devil, like they were all like kind of being corrupted slowly through this thing, supposedly by this devil dog that they had adopted as a puppy that is now full grown, even though like 2 weeks had passed, I think.
A year passes narratively, like in the blink of an eye.
A year. All right, a year does pass, but yeah. So then it's a full grown pup. It's a very stern looking German Shepherd, but it's obviously having the time of its life filming this movie. It couldn't be happier. It's happy. It's wagging its tail. It's looking just like the happiest dog ever, and he's supposed to be terrifying. Like that was the thing that was actually kind of entertaining about this film, is that so many scenes where, you know, they're supposed to cut to the dog and the dog's supposed to just look terrifying, and it looks so happy. I swear to God, its tail's wagging.
Yeah, it looks like the sweetest goddamn dog in the world, especially for a German Shepherd. Like,
it looks like the nicest German Shepherd you've ever seen.
Yeah, and we know stagecraft and filmmaking. We know a lot of times, you know, there's they smear some cat food on something just off camera, so the cat comes up there and, you know, is sniffing something, whatever. I mean, we know how this stuff works, but this thing was clearly, they were just like playing, like holding a ball like behind the camera, like, hey, look up here, and it was just like,
yeah,
every scene. So it's like Richard Crenna's like, I think like retreating from it or something like that, and it's like, it's like
yeah,
good boy, walkies. Like it was, we were all laughing. It looks so benign and sweet, and it's supposed to be this demonic entity. Yeah, I mean, there's some interesting narrative things, like the kind of idea of like what would be used 4 years later in the Carpenter's The Thing, where it's like, if you're alone with this thing, it infects you, and then you kind of become part of it. So like the family one by one gets turned by this hellhound, and the dad is the last. Mike Berry is his character's name. The Berry family. He's the last one. That's not turned. What do you think they were responding to narratively? Like, what is this a ripoff of, or influenced by, or?
You know, I don't really know. I mean, it seems derivative of a lot of stuff. I mean, this is late 70s, so the satanic angle of the 70s movies has been going on for a while. Yeah, I couldn't exactly see if they were referencing anything in particular. I know
Cujo's not out yet, right?
Cujo's not out yet. I think Cujo's out in 80, if I'm correct, right?
Sounds right. 80, 81, 80?
Yeah, 80 or the early 80s. So that's what we immediately thought. I think while we were watching it on the Discord, people were wondering if Cujo was what it was. I don't know. I just think it's a derivative story, or which is weird because we can't really figure out from what.
Right.
but yeah, it just seemed it is very slight in a way that's kind of goofy, but yeah, I almost wonder if the dog being so friendly and nice just made it funny enough to where I'm just like, oh, I'm glad I watched that. And then there's a baffling move to where the Richard Crenna character, the father, Mike Berry, he suddenly is just like, he's realizing his family's possessed and he's kind of freaking out. And then he's just kind of is just like, I'll be back later. And then he goes like on this vision quest, like to Guatemala or something.
God,
and
I forgot about that.
He's driving in a taxi in the jungle. A taxi probably took him like 200 miles into the jungle and leaves him there.
It's
like just
Ecuador.
Like, I gotta go. Yeah, I think it is Ecuador. You're right. And he's like, gotta go. See you later. And leaves him. And that's when he meets the shaman played by the guy who played the Shadow. And it's really weird. Oh, look at that. Your devil dog's going off. Where's Renee been?
I don't know.
Is it?
Yeah, and so we were just tripping out on the fact that Victor Jory in his, you know, kind of desiccated old age looked a lot like Uncle Bill from American Movie. So he just kind of kept quoting Bill from that documentary. It's all right, it's okay.
Hey, I realized that we were doing that constantly, and I realized, like, I think it was just us and Josh Link who had seen the movie. And everyone else is just like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? Well, Jesus loves you.
That's a them problem.
That is a them problem. What, they don't watch American Movie every 4 months like we do?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, I love that. Just that narrative curveball of like, hey, I'm going to Ecuador to get to the root of this thing.
And basically, he goes there and just gets a symbol painted on his hand,
carved into his hand, wasn't it?
Carved into his hand, and then he uses it at the end. We won't spoil that for you, but you can watch this pretty much anywhere, I think.
Yeah,
we watched it on Tubi. Yeah, it's easy to find. I don't think I liked it as much as the other TV movie that we had this season, Satan's School for Girls, which I think is still in my top 3.
Right.
So it was a little let down because of that. But if we're going to jump right into ratings, are you okay with that?
Not quite.
You never are.
I'm kind of with you. Like I felt like, I mean, for instance, like the Ecuador thing, like that was clearly domestically filmed. So it just kind of led me to believe, like, what question, like, why did this beat come up? Like, and I did love the supernatural thing, like you said, like the carving this spiritual emblem into his hand. There's some strange special effects when the Hellhound reveals himself, and we get to see what his true spirit form is. That was wow, something to behold.
Yeah, it was.
I guess I'm with you ultimately that I didn't love it. It was not a great story, but it was entertaining. And for me, there's just a comfort that is unmatched in TV movies. Like there's this warm, comforting. It's like, I don't know. It's probably mostly the 70s stuff. Like, and just being a kid, it just reminds me of that. But it just feels like there's gonna be story beats. You know, there's gonna be a break. There's gonna be a commercial that comes up, and you know, the music's competent. Like everything's just competent. Like it feels like you just get this known quantity.
Yeah.
And when they're good, they're great, like Gargoyles or Don't Be Afraid of the Dark or Night Stalker. And when they're not, they're still entertaining and comforting in a weird way. And this one was just kind of like in the middle for me. Like, would I recommend it to people? I'm not sure. Would I watch it again? Maybe. But I'm glad I watched it and I had a good time.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, that's why
almost every TV movie.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I liked it. I mean, I'm gonna give it a claw up. Maybe not the most enthusiastic claw I've ever given, but I'm definitely gonna give it a claw up. I don't have an antidote, but like we talked about last time, last episode when we were talking about this, I really recommend if you're gonna watch a Curtis Harrington film, watch Night Tide. It's from 60 or early 60s. It's black and white, very arty, very cool. It has a really young Dennis Hopper, who's poured into a sailor's uniform, and he may be in love with a mermaid. And that sounds goofy, but it's actually really creepy and strange and weird. Marjorie Cameron's in it. It's an incredible film. It's one of my favorites. Curtis Harrington, he directed the film that we talked about tonight, Devil Dog, at the very end of his career. Early on in his career, he was almost an experimental filmmaker, because I think he was a protege of Kenneth Anger, if I'm correct, and then went on to make kind of mystical, strange movies like Night Tide. And then he just, he made films that were really cool and arty, but weren't very successful. And so I think by the 70s, he was exclusively a TV director. And he directed, like, I don't know, Mannix and Ironside.
Oh, wow.
And,
like episodic stuff.
Yeah, he directed a lot of episodic stuff all through the 80s. And so, I mean, good for him. He had a career, but his early stuff is really worth checking out, especially Night Tide. Please watch that.
Yeah, you don't need an antidote to say that. I mean, that's...
No, I don't.
That's a supplement.
Yeah.
It's a Flintstone chewable vitamin.
Oh, love those.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this one. I think I'm going to give it one of these guys, which I don't do that often. Again, comforting, bland in all the right ways, like cream of wheat, a little pat of butter on there, maybe a little maple syrup or some brown sugar. Nothing exciting, but it's going to fill you up and it's going to make you feel good for a little bit. So
yeah, I would say this is cream of wheat with just a pat of butter. No salt, no maple syrup, no brown sugar for sure.
Maybe salted butter, though. I mean, there's a little something.
Salted butter.
Yeah, so... yeah, I would check it out. Like you said, it's available everywhere. However, we started watching the YouTube version, and one of the YouTube versions, and it was super soft. Like, looked like a fourth generation VHS dub. So the Tubi one's pretty vivid and sharp.
That's in good shape.
I go there and put up with the DoorDash ads. So, cool. So here is Jacob's role for the next film.
We got 30.
All right, so our next film is going to be Petey Wheatstraw, also known as Petey Wheatstraw, The Devil's Son-in-Law. And it's from 1977. It's an American blaxploitation comedy film written and directed by Cliff Roquemore. And it stars Rudy Ray Moore, the famous comedian, Dolomite,
Yeah,
So
I mean Rudy Ray Moore. I mean, people love his films. I do love Dolomite films. I loved them a lot when I was a teenager. I haven't really watched too much of them as a middle-aged man, but yeah, I did love him. Did you watch the Eddie Murphy thing, the bio of Rudy Ray
I
Moore?
have not seen that. I heard that was good though.
It's really good. Like it's so funny, like because it's actually kind of like heartwarming and sweet in the way that like Ed Wood is, and it was written by the same guys that wrote Ed Wood.
Oh, really?
And it's very similar. It's just like a bunch of crazy kids get together and love each other and make this thing they really believe in that's actually really shitty. It's basically Ed Wood.
Okay. No, one of my psychotronic blind spots is Dolomite, and I don't know, like just in general, like blaxploitation, like the comedy stuff. I'm not that familiar with. So Dolomite for me is stuff I heard referenced in old rap lyrics. Like,
Well, there's
I
a
don't think
lot.
I've ever actually seen anything more than like a clip or two. So
Oh,
I don't
you
really
definitely.
know Rudy Ray Moore that much, to be honest.
Oh, you got to watch the first Dolomite. It's great.
Okay. Is he a superhero? What is he? Is he a
No,
pimp?
he's just a badass. He's just a badass pimp.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it's like a Superfly, but funny.
Very much so.
Okay. What's the film that's being watched in True Romance in Drexel's when he goes to
Ooh.
Drexel's? Is that
Been a long time since
Okay.
I've seen that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to place that one.
I just wonder if that was Dolomite or not. But
Might be.
is there nudity in Dolomite?
There is.
Okay. I think
Yeah.
it might be Dolomite. Anyway, yeah, I'll work on that. I have a blaxploitation book. I got into it for a while, but I mostly got into the horror and the crime stuff more than as I do. Just me.
Yeah.
Comedy is even more subjective than most art forms for me personally. So, yeah, I'm usually kind of dip my toe in it and be like, okay, yeah, I see it.
I just like Rudy Ray Moore because just as a filmmaker, just as like an indie, low budget shit for brains filmmaker, like he's really great and he's so passionate about it and he loves it. And that's what, we know makes a good psychotronic movie is if the person making it believes that this is the greatest film that's ever been made.
100%.
And that's when the movies are fun. And that's what I think, at least about the first Dolomite. There's like 9 of them and they're not all good at all.
Is there really that many? Oh my
there's
God.
a lot. I don't know about 9, but there's a lot.
Did he do stand up or was he just kind of a self-made like?
No, he was a stand-up. He made comedy records. He made Blue records.
Okay. That's what I thought. Like he was like
Yeah.
Red Fox. Maybe not as good.
Yeah, he's like Red Fox, but his delivery is almost proto-rap in a way. It's very just like
he had the rhyming.
yeah.
Okay. I've seen more of him than I realized. Yeah.
He's very cool. His stand-up was very cool. I mean, it's dirty, but just his weird delivery. He has this like kind of staccato delivery that's really interesting. And yeah, it's this whole routine. And so the films came after he, kind of had some success with Blue under the counter records that you'd get at the time
in the brown paper bag.
Yep.
And I believe that the Devil's Son-in-Law. I believe this is basically an expansion of a bit from his stand-up routine. Is this whole film.
Okay.
So
that's
cool. I think the premise here is essentially that like the devil offers him untold power or something, but he has to marry his daughter, who is like the ugliest woman on the planet.
His ugly daughter. Yes.
Yeah. So it sounds like a stand-up joke expanded into a film.
It really does.
Like a type of joke, like the farmer and the daughter, farmer's daughter type. Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I was worried we weren't going to hit that one. There's a couple on the list is getting pretty slim, and
it is.
I wanted to see Petey Wheatstraw and I wanted to see Race with the Devil. Hopefully that happens, but there's a fail safe in place. If we don't roll number 2 or 3, whatever that is, for Race with the Devil, we are going to watch it between seasons on a watch along. It's not acceptable.
No, it's not. And also, I mean, I'm going to be really bummed if we don't go into Triple Jeopardy and have to watch an anti-Satan 80s PSA film.
Yeah, I wanted a Double Jeopardy for Devil Dog.
Yeah.
So I was excited there for a second, but
me too.
Didn't happen.
It'll happen.
Did you roll this one straight away? I forgot.
I rolled this one straight away.
Yeah. proud 30.
Yep,
You just
proud
roll
30.
30 just defiantly. All right. Well, I'm going to do a Kickstarter catch up next week, and I wrote a theme song for it. People have been clamoring, Matt, when are you going to have another theme song for a segment? And yeah, it's something I worked on this week, and I'm excited to play it for you, Jacob.
This is the first I've heard of it.
Yeah. Have you heard of Sergeant Pepper's?
Is that like a group? Is that a
people?
Is that a combo? It's a combo you were talking about.
Have you heard of the Pet Sounds?
No, sorry.
Okay. So it's kind of like those together, what I did, but I confined everything to 3 takes or fewer for each part. And
very Brian Wilson of you.
Yeah. So it's really, really good and really amazing, but it's also like off the cuff and what I did in one lunch hour.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, next week we're going to be talking about Petey Wheatstraw. And I just had, so this whole time, you know, my little partner hasn't been here, but she just jumped up because she knew we were ending the bonus show. So I'm going to try and be a little more loving.
You probably heard that theme song.
Time. She did. She heard the theme song. Okay. See, Sweet Pea, she just does like to be held like a baby. So I think what I'm going to do is say, oh, come on now. What the heck? Never hissed at me before. All right. So until we meet again, Sweet Hail Satan. Hail Satan.
Hail Satan. I think she was, there's a writer strike going on, and she's like, fuck you. I'm not Scab.
I know. Oh, Sweet Pea.
All right, well, that's the bonus show. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for supporting the show.